Okay, so if you remember, as we learned today, the Mishna Yomis dedicated by the Fisher family, dedicated by the Arbach family, by Yol Klugmanen family, as we're learning the fifth, and for Meir ben Chayesara, the fifth and the sixth Mishnayos in the fifth parak of Nedarim. So if you remember, we said that if I say that Shelley can't benefit from me, and Shelley says that I can't benefit from him, so we said that we're both allowed to go onto premises given over to the Olei Bavel, given over to Klal Yisrael as a whole. But we can't go into places owned by our municipality, because that's considered that we each have a share in it. And now the Mishnah explains both categories. What does it mean that we could use that which was given over to those that go to Bavel? Kegain Harabayas, the Temple Mount, Va'azoris, the Temple Chambers, Va'bor Shebem Tzaderech, or the wells that were made in the middle of the road. That's all given over to Klal Yisrael. What's belongs to the municipality that each of us have a share in, and therefore I can't go in because then I'm going into Shelley's share, and Shelley can't go in because he's going into my share. K'gayna Rechava, the city square, V'amerchatz, the city bathhouse, Ubeis HaKnesses, the synagogue, V'ateva, the ark, V'asvarim, and the svarim that people use. However, V'akaisev Chelkai Lanasi, if I give my rights to the Nasi, to the king, so then Shelley could come in because I relinquished my rights to the synagogue, to the square. I relinquished it to the king. Rabbi Yehuda says I don't have to relinquish it to the king. I could also relinquish my share to Dr. Block, and then Shelley could go in. Rabbi Yehuda, I could relinquish it to the king, or I could relinquish it to a private individual. But there's a difference. What's the difference if I relinquish it to the king or if I relinquish it to a private citizen? If I relinquish it to the king, I don't have to go over to Gedalia and say, Gedalia, be zoiche in it for the king. No, I can just write it to the king. I don't have to be mezakit to him al yadeyacha. But if I want to give it over to Dr. Block, I'll have to go over to Gedalia and say, Gedalia, be zoiche in it for Dr. Block. The Chacham say, echad zeh ve'echad zeh, whether I give it to the Nasi or I give it to Dr. Block, tzrichim mazakas. I have to be mezakit al yidei acher. I have to give it to Gedalia and tell him to be zeichen it for the Nasi or be zeichen it for Dr. Block. Lo yidibur b'Nasi ela ba'oiva. It only says the king as the normal case, because if I'm going to relinquish it, I'll relinquish it to the king. Rabbi Yehuda says the truth of the matter is, in Golul, for generations, they were very argumentative people. And therefore their ancestors already gave over the private ownership of the municipality to the king. And Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, ein anshe gold tzrichen lichtayv. They don't have to hand over their personal, individual rights to the public areas. Shekvar kosva v'seim al yedayim. Their ancestors already enacted it. They said, we know we people are very argumentative and we answer each other, and we don't want it to be a problem that they shouldn't be able to go into the public areas, so we gave it over to the king. Now, Hamuda Nome Chaveroi, if I say that Ilya can't benefit from me, but I see he doesn't have what to eat. He doesn't have what to eat. So what I could do is, I could give a corned beef sandwich to Michal Avram as a present, and then he could give it to Ilya. because then it's coming from him, not from me. And then Ilya is allowed to eat it. However, this could get tricky. There was a guy named Chatzkel in the town of Beis Charain, that he didn't get along with his father, and he made a neder that his father couldn't benefit from him. Now he's making a wedding for his son, and he wants the Zayda to be able to come to the wedding. For Yamasi as Benai, he's marrying off his son. So he goes to Nachman, and he tells Nachman, I'm giving you the hall and the wedding feast as a gift. Now, he doesn't want Nachman to pull a fast one on him. He doesn't want Nachman to take it and make a bas mitzvah for his granddaughter. So he tells him, Ve'enon lefanecha, and it's only given to you, so that I have a loophole that now my father could come to the chazana, because he's not benefiting from me. I gave it to you. But Nachman's smarter than that. Nachman says, Amalai, im shaliyim, if you're giving it to me, hariyim mukdashim l'shamayim. I'm dedicating the whole chasana to heaven, to Hekdesh. So right away, Chatzkel gets apoplectic. Amalai loy nesati hashalisha takdishim l'shamayim. I didn't give it to you to be makdish to heaven. So Nachman nods his head. He says, I know. You only gave me what's yours, that you and your father should be able to eat and drink, and make up with each other. But since what you really gave me is not a legal gift, because I can't do whatever I want with it, so it's really not a gift, it's really yours, and you're breaking your vow with your father, and you're using me as an accomplice to the sin. And the sin is going to be hung on my head. Nachman says, I'm not having anything to do with this. Says the Gemara, when this matter became before the sages, they said, Nachman is right. Any matana, where if Nachman doesn't have full rights, that if he's makdish, it's not a good kedushin, it's not a good hektish, then ain't a matana, it's not a gift. And then really the father is still forbidden to have benefit from the chassan. And Nachman is right not to be a party to such a sham deal. We want to thank everybody for joining us for a tough night of learning.